Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Naaman with the DC Camp. Grant your great millstone back for another video. But first and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem Rakah Hakwadash. And of course, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Hakim that are out there on the highways and byways pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth, not to mention the many, many videos that are uploaded on a daily to further assist in that getting out this truth. And this video here I'm putting out is, wow, the feminist movement. Boy, the things that, oh man, they did a job on our women. And as a result of that, on the men and the whole so-called, well, not so-called, I was going to say so-called black, but the Israelite family structure in general. All right. And we know that it was the liberals. Actually, it was the whole damn government that was behind it as far as, these alphabet agencies, primarily the C, the I, and the A. All right. So all that bullshit about that you heard that agency was forbidden to work domestically, well, that's bullshit. All right. So in any case, let's go ahead and get into the video here. Let me get the copyright disclaimer. This is copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right, let's get into the video. And let's just see who you women chose to idolize and therefore follow. Oh boy.
Alice Walker, the civil rights divester who hated black men, black children, and black women. Alice Walker is celebrated as a civil rights hero for her writings in poetry, essays, and books. No offense, I don't consider writers heroes. Anyways, one thing you will notice about black women who are celebrated in black history is that they often hate black men, raise their children poorly, are sexually deviant, and have the goal to be seen as desirable by white men. This is important. Their ultimate goal is to be seen as desirable by white men. Black women's biggest issue in history is desirability politics. That's it. Did you know Alice Walker told her biracial daughter Rebecca Walker this? The quote from Rebecca Walker about her mother is, "She had me to prove a point that a biracial child could exist, and then she was done." Rebecca Walker said this to describe how her mother, Alice Walker, had her partly as a statement to show that a biracial child could exist and be part of their family legacy. But after that, Rebecca felt her mother emotionally checked out or was no longer fully invested in their relationship. Alice Walker pretty much did not want to raise the biracial child. She just wanted.
So this is an example, all right, because it's possible. She married an Ish, a J-O-O, and this is the product of that. This is her daughter, some years ago. All right, so technically, there's a possibility if he were a Jake. All right, but this is also an example of a tear. All right, when it talks about the wheat and the tares in Matthew 13th chapter, all right, this is what it's talking about. If indeed this is the case. All right, and because our people go along with this black and not understanding that there are different nations, the possible same skin tone. Just for an example, you have Hamites, you have Elamites, all right, and centuries ago you could say that about Moab and Ammon, all right, but you can clearly distinguish them because of that mark that was put on them. But our people just gotten used to calling people black, and not realizing that that's just skin deep. All right, it goes deeper than that. All right, yeah, that's her daughter, And like I said, she just felt that she emotionally that she checked out early on, and that was she just had her to prove a point.
Wanted the world to know that a white man impregnated her to prove that she was desirable to white men, that perhaps she was on the same level as white women.
Mm.
Alice Walker was known for being delusional, a liar, and a fairy tale writer. Alice Walker treated every black person around her like trash, yet she joined the civil rights movement and walked among the same black people she hated.
By the time I was going off to college, Martin Luther King had been arrested probably several times. We had gotten a television set. I had seen his face. I had loved his composure and his determination. We never expected him to live very long. But we loved him, very deeply. And when I went off to college, it was natural that I would join the movement. So we did sit-ins and marches and, voter registration. In the summers, I went to a little place called Liberty County, Georgia, and was active there until one night we were sitting in at a police station, and the mob started throwing broken bottles, and I realized that I had other things I wanted to do before they harmed me badly. But then later, of course, I moved to Mississippi and rejoined the movement there.
Alice Walker wrote the book The Color Purple. In The Color Purple, black men are overwhelmingly portrayed as violent, abusive, and predatory. Celie's father, later revealed to be her stepfather, molests and impregnates her twice, then sells her off to another man like property. Mr., her husband, is also deeply abusive, physically, emotionally, and sexually, continuing the cycle of trauma. He also tries to assault her younger sister Nettie, and openly cheats on Celie with another woman, Shug Avery. Even Harpo, who initially seems more gentle, is encouraged to beat his wife, Sophia, to assert control. Overall, the film presents black men as oppressors of women.
There you go. And who was behind this, the making of this movie? Spielberg, right? And Ish, AJOO, right? Yeah. Got to have that narrative after all, right?
With few, if any, redeeming qualities or examples of healthy masculinity. Now we are going to break down Alice Walker's history and expose her as an anti-black misandrist who simply wanted to be seen as the same as white women. Alice Walker married Melvin Leventhal, a Jewish civil rights attorney, in 1967, and they made history as the first legally married interracial couple in Mississippi. Their marriage was deeply intertwined with their shared activism during the civil rights movement. They lived in Jackson, Mississippi, at a time when interracial marriage was not just taboo but dangerous. Many black people do not pay attention. Alice Walker is known as a civil rights hero for writing stories of fiction and marrying a white man. After 2 abortions, one when she was 19 and the other while she was married to her white husband, Alice Walker had one child, Rebecca Walker. Rebecca Walker grew up as the daughter of 2 powerful figures, Alice Walker, the Pulitzer Prize-winning author of The Color Purple, and a Jewish civil rights lawyer. As a child, she bounced between homes, felt neglected, and dealt with identity struggles as a mixed-race kid in racially tense environments. Her parents divorced when she
No such thing as mixed race. You are what your father is.
was 8, and her upbringing was anything but stable. By 13, Rebecca was left alone for days at a time while her mother focused on writing. At 14, she had an abortion, something her mother supported. Rebecca later said she was haunted by that decision for decades. In Rebecca's words, she says, growing up as Alice Walker's daughter was complicated. My mother always believed that children enslave women. From a young age, I was taught that motherhood was a burden, that kids were like millstones around your neck, and that the most important thing a woman could do was protect her freedom at all costs.
Children were like millstones. Damn. That's why, let me get this scripture. That's why this is here. This will be, if I can find it. Let me change this. Hold on. Here we go. All right. Let's go to Sirach 3. I went too far. Let's see. Here it is. For the blessing, Sirach chapter 3, verse 9. For the blessing of the father establisheth the houses of children, but the curse of the mother rooteth out foundations. All right, let's go to Genesis, I believe it's 49. Let's see. Where Jacob, where he's on his, let's see. 49. Yeah, Jacob blesses his sons. So start at 2 and you go on down, gather yourselves together, and hear ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. All right, and it goes on down. All right, shows you. All right, it's the lineage is passed on through the male. All right, the foundations, the foundation, I should say. All right, all the way down through 27 is all you see. All right. Blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors. Unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hill they shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Benjamin shall ravine as a wolf. All right. All right. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. All right. So you look as a result of this feminist movement and the destruction of our family structure and the children being raised by the single mother, what has happened? All right. It's produced a bunch of mentally unstable, feminized males. All right. The curse.
I never felt like I was a priority. I always came behind her writing, her politics, her quest for.
A curse, let me expound on that. A curse that our enemy has exploited. All right. Used to make much money. The criminal justice system, once again. Look at the result. And here in D.C., they just basically established martial law. And I tried to stress the fact to Jake in many of my earlier videos. He kept laughing at Northern Kingdom, you know, and as usual, the average Jake does not understand that history there. All right. Northern Kingdom gets it first, but Jake gets, Southern Kingdom gets it the worst, I should say. Both of us are Jake. But anyway, I kept stressing, hey, they got something planned for us. We weren't out there protesting with the Northern Kingdom like they probably had planned, so they could get both of us at the same time. All right. But this could spread to other cities. I know that New York City is on his list, of course. Los Angeles is on that list. Okay, probably Atlanta. All right, because Jake be wilding out. You all would not listen. We're out there on the highways and byways, and we tried to tell you that these things were going to happen. This is prophetic. This is prophecy. All right? And it's happening, but Jake just wants to have fun. Jake just wants to remain ignorant. All right? Thinking that was going to protect him. Oh, no, 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 no. Back to the video.
Spiritual enlightenment. She once told me having me was a big mistake. I knew I wasn't what she wanted. When I became pregnant, she told me I was ruining my life and cut me off completely.
Damn.
She said she didn't want anything to do with me anymore. That broke me. Alice Walker believed traditional motherhood was a form of slavery and discouraged Rebecca from playing with dolls. Feminist ideals shaped every part of their household, but in a way that, Rebecca says, erased her emotional needs. Rebecca Walker explains, her feminism was powerful, but it wasn't compatible with being a mother. She saw motherhood as servitude, as something that compromised a woman's autonomy. I understand that now, but as a child, it just felt like abandonment. Sometimes I think she had me just to prove a point that a biracial child could exist, and once that point was made, she was done. Rebecca and Alice's relationship became increasingly strained. One of their final exchanges was a cold email from Alice. I've been your mother for 30 years. I'm no longer interested in the job.
Ooh,
Rebecca,
damn.
heartbroken, chose distance to protect her own black son from the pain she'd grown up with. She later revealed how unsupported she felt. Even being sexually active at 13 was seen by her mother as empowering. Her father, meanwhile, couldn't relate to her experiences as the only black person in a white, affluent neighborhood. In the 90s, Rebecca Walker was in a long-term relationship with musician Michelle Impediocello and helped raise her son, Solomon.
There you go.
She has spoken openly, sometimes controversially, about the emotional difference between raising a biological child versus a stepson. Things got complicated with the singer Tracy Chapman. Rumors say Rebecca was involved with Tracy before her mother, Alice Walker, was. Allegedly,
All this confusion. Leviticus 18th chapter warns about this. This is why we got to get out of here.
Alice seduced Tracy away from Rebecca. Tracy once gave Rebecca $60,000 to start an internet cafe, but after their fallout, she withdrew the funding, sued Rebecca, and took over the business. Tracy later released the song Telling Stories, believed to reference Alice with the lines, "There is fiction in the space between you and reality. You will do and say anything to make your everyday life seem less mundane." Alice and Tracy's 2-year romance in the early 90s remains a famous and mysterious lesbian love story. Despite their 20-year age gap, Alice was in her 50s and Tracy was in her late 20s, early 30s. They connected deeply through music, literature, and activism. But after their breakup, things turned toxic, and it's unclear if they ever truly reconciled. Alice Walker had another lesbian relationship with photographer Jean Weisinger came in her 50s. She said it was wonderful and very easy. Now, the last we heard, she was in a relationship with a man called Kaleo, the musician. She says she and Kaleo are kind of married. One thing you notice, Alice Walker's lesbian relationships are all with very masculine black women. She uses masculine black women as sexual partners because masculine black women pretend to be black men. The saga of Alice Walker, Rebecca Walker, and Tracy Chapman.
All this confusion. All right. But this is what you get. All right. When we strayed away from the law, statutes, and commandments. All right. And not only that, like I said, the liberals have one way of dealing with us. They give you all that rope so you can hang yourself. On the other side of the spectrum, you have the Republicans. They let you know up front. You know, what did Malcolm X say about the wolf and the fox? All right. And that's exactly how each one deals with us. Of course, the Dems or the liberals being the fox. All right.
Chapman is about more than a love triangle. It's about generational trauma, feminism, race, queerness, and abuse. Everything she wrote about black men in The Color Purple was exactly who Alice Walker was as a person. She was the one oppressing black women and children. See how that works.
Your love life, Alice Walker.
That's called projection.
Let's go there. Let's go there. Because you said, I was in love with so many different people. At one point you thought everyone knew I was a lesbian but me. Tell us what love means to you.
Well, first of all, I discovered I was not a lesbian, actually. I'm someone who actually loves everybody, men and women. And it's just the most wonderful
You just
thing.
greedy, huh?
What does love mean to you?
It means that when you are open to life, there's endless possibilities of love. And it's something that actually grows in your own heart.
One of the great loves of your life that you write about is Tracy Chapman. From the moment you saw her, you thought what? Because it seemed to be an instant attraction.
It was her voice. There's some voices in our culture that can carry the whole culture, and really make an emotional sense of it and liberate you into a deep love of that.
I like how you described it at the beginning of the relationship. You said it was the first kiss that lasted 2 weeks.
Well, I think love can be that way. You know, that you kiss someone for the first time that you've been dreaming about and longing for. And the kiss just goes on forever. 2 weeks, 2 years, you know.
And ultimately, the relationship wasn't a long relationship, but it was a very solid and important relationship in your life. Did you talk with her about including this in your book, your relationship with her?
Not at all, because we're not really talking.
After love so deep.
Yes. That happens, though.
Are you worried about how she'll receive this?
Not especially.
Why?
Because it's my life. It's my life.
I'm like, okay, Alice. What if I didn't want people to know I was dating Alice Walker?
If she didn't want people to know, we should not have dated. We should not have.
Alice Walker is abusive, colorist, hates black men, hates black children, a liar, and sexually deviant. At this point, black women in the civil rights era should not be.
This is who a lot of you black women chose to follow. Let me give you another one just passed recently. And this is the one that Judge Joe Brown, when he was going to UCLA, all right, he told a story himself. It's on YouTube. She came to speak. Oh, shit, why did I put that there? Let's see. I think that's how it's spelled. She was another one, all right, that these feminists, in particular the so-called black woman, idolize. As soon as this decides to load, come on now. Crap. Oh boy. Come on now. I'm just waiting for it to, let's see, try it again. Let's try it again. Salakia. Come on now. This is crazy. Salakia, I apologize. Oh man. Hold on. I might have to pause it until it. Okay, here we go. Back just a couple of minutes that took for it to. Anyway, here's Nikki Giovanni. All right, this is. I apologize for that. Yeah, so she died December, this past December. So, American poet, writer, commentator, activist, and educator, one of the world's best known African American poets. All right, her work includes whatever. She won numerous awards, including the Langston Hughes Medal. Interesting. Langston Hughes, wasn't he one of those? I think he was the so-called, Harlem Renaissance. I think he was known for being like her and Alice. If memory serves. I could be wrong. Anyway, she gained fame in the late 60s as one of the foremost authors of Black Arts Movement, influenced by civil rights movement and Black Power. All right. The poet of the Black Revolution. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. 27 honorary degrees. So they gave her, you know, of course, because of what she was pushing. Let's see, life and work. Let's see, born in Tennessee. Let's see, she immediately clashed with then Dean of Women. Okay, get down to the point. Alright. Well, she had a son. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, other black women, because she started publishing the works of other black women writers, among them Gwendolyn Brooks, Marie Evans, Carolyn Rogers, Margaret Walker. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, this is on YouTube. Her conversation with James Baldwin. If you hadn't seen it, it's on YouTube. All right, on Soul, filmed in London and broadcast in '71 as a two-part special. It's considered a defining moment in her career, and subsequently became a book. All right, yeah, okay. Uh, yeah, so her partner, she married a white woman. All right. Oh, I did not know this. Yeah, this happened just down, not too far from where I am here in D.C. This was, oh man, this is back in 2007. Sung Hui Cho, a mass murderer who killed 32 people in the Virginia Tech shooting on April 16, 2007, was a student in one of Giovanni's poetry classes. Describing him as mean and menacing, she approached the department chair to have Cho taken out of her class and said she was willing to resign rather than continue teaching him. Cho was removed from her class in 2005. After the massacre, Giovanni stated that upon hearing of the shooting, she immediately suspected that Cho might be the shooter. Damn. All right, so there you go. Let's finish this out.
Be trusted, and most of them should not be celebrated. All they did was lie on black men, sleep around with different men and women, and use the fake activism work for some fame. After all, black women's biggest goal is to be famous because people who are famous are deemed desirable. Notice how most of them have nothing bad to say about white men. When they
Yeah.
talk about black men, it's
How about
specific,
that?
but when they speak on life in the 60s, they make it vague and abstract so they don't blame white men. Why did they do this? It's because they were having sex with them. Simple. Cash App is in the description. Email is in the description. Leave your comments down below. Search the...
Let's see some of them. All right. Her ex-husband, Mel Leventhal, married a Jewish woman, went right back to his kind. He lived a successful life of privilege, while Alice lived in a rent-free room that came with Mel's prestigious job. All right. Finally, he says Leventhal explains the shame he felt telling his mother about being with someone that she would disapprove of, and indicates that his relationship with her would be different from now on unless she decides to support him. Leventhal's relationship, the next one, was continuation. Leventhal's relationship matched a 1970 study about the divorce rate of ish intermarried couples. In the study, it was found that the divorce rate was 4.7% when both partners were ishish, but when only the husband was ishish, the rate rose to 25%. Let's see, it's going down. The Only God says, yep, disrupt society, change the law, influence populations. That's just what they did. All right. Of course, that was pushed on our people. Of course, he reverted back, but could you really blame him given our understanding of Alice Walker? Lesbianism is almost a mandatory detour on a divester speed run. So, the color purple is nothing but projection. See? She's the abusive one. It's always projection with them. Black women are the only women on earth who will never be held accountable, and people believe them when they lie on other people. Steven Spielberg turned that book into a film. Yep. See, The Color Purple is actually about Brad, not us. This woman is absolutely horrible. The amount of black women with biracial children that spend all day talking about black men is insane. Alice Walker makes sense. Wow, she's the author of this fictional thing to disparage all black men. Thanks for informing us. Yeah, here it is. This funky fish and Maya Angelou. One and the same says those who are old enough when Color Purple came out, poor Danny Glover was being attacked in airports from black women. Idiots thought the book was based on fact and really believed Danny was the dude in the movie. Danny Glover was the most hated black man in the 80s due to that, let's see, crap movie. All these pro-black women are like this. Hate black men, but will love white men or be lesbian. I'm going to end it there. Point's been made. Yeah, this is what fucking Miss Magazine, what was that bitch's name that was set up? God dang it. Oh, why did that? Hold on. That infamous picture. Let's see. I guess that's the way it's spelled. Let's see. What was that? Oh, now I remember her name. Well, let's wait and see if this will come up. Oh, come on, not again. Come on. Let's see. Let's see. How do you spell? Let's see. Oh, for crap's sake. Come on, man. God dang it. Slocky. Come on. Satan. All right, here it is. I put an H in there. I didn't. Okay, and an A. But anyway, this bitch here. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Come on. The hell. All right, here it is. Bitch, 91 years. God, dog. Let's see. Steinem was a columnist for New York Magazine and a co-founder of Miss Magazine. All right. In '69, she published an article after Black Power, Women's Liberation. Look at her, which brought her national attention and positioned her as a feminist leader. In '71, she co-founded the National Women's Political Caucus, which provides training and support for women who seek elected, blah, 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 blah. Also in '71, she co-founded the Women's Action Alliance. All right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. The daughter of Ruth and Leo Steinem. Her mother was Presbyterian, mostly of German, including Prussian and some kind of that. Her father was Jewish. See, it's people like this, you know, man. I was saying if they have that picture here, that of her and what's her name, Dorothy. Let's see if it's further on down here. 72, 73. Let's see. Yeah, okay. 72. Come on, they gotta have it. Don't make me. CIA ties and leader of Independent Research Service. In '67, Steinem revealed in an interview with the New York Times that she worked full-time from '58 until '62 at the Independent Research Service, which was largely financed by the CIA. In May '75, Red Stockings, a radical feminist group, published a report that Steinem and others put together on the Vienna Youth Festival and its attendees for the Independent Research Service. It says Red Stockings raised the question of whether Steinem had continuing ties with the CIA, which Steinem denied. Steinem defended her relationship to the CIA, saying, "In my experience, the agency was completely different from its image. It was liberal, nonviolent, and get the fuck out of here." All right. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. So there you have it. There you have it. Yep. Yep. Set up all along. All this, transgender rights, all that shit. Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Look at her, right there. Gloria Steinem and Alice Walker celebrate Steinem's 75th birthday in the fall 2009 issue of Miss. Look at her. Two peas in a pod. No more to be said. So with that, again, this has been going in on these feminists here. Hold on. All right, so again, this has been on, this is who they chose to be following. I think of Genesis 3, it's the same old thing. Same old thing. They choose to listen to everybody else. Hey, these curses are upon us. This has been going on ever before then. All right, as far as, wow. Hey, so with that, once again, I hope whoever views this has been edified. Again, be circumspect out there. All right, it's a lot of things going on. All these prophecies, all right, have been coming to bear, and everything else is literally right in right in your face. All right, so with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.